Shall we start?
Yes, Kumar, we can start.
Thank you. Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. It's a wonderful day today because we have with us our VTPC facilitator and support. I mean, one of my dearest friends, Prabha, and she has with her a panel of experts who are from the IP field, who are today going to present a webinar on innovation for engineers. And the topic is leveraging intellectual property tools in entrepreneurship. I'm sure many of you have plans of maybe starting your own startups and so on. And the other thing is, even organizations today talk about entrepreneurship. So, everybody is expected to be innovative. They're expected to use innovative tools. And IP, it's very important to know the IP tools that are available. IP management needs to be in place because that is very critical to ensure that your IP, your innovation or your intellectual property is, protected. And what I would like to just very quickly tell you is what exactly we're going to be covering over this, in terms of agenda. So we will have a short session from Srimati Prabhavati, who is actually a facilitator, and she is the IP initiatives expert from VTPC, Department of Industries and Commerce of the Government of Karnataka. She will be talking to you about the initiatives from the Government of Karnataka for export promotion to nurture exports. After that, we will have Dr. S. Ramurthy, who is a senior IP specialist, and he was formerly the head of the Emerging Technologies Department of Jain University. He will be giving you an overview of all the IP tools, the spectrum of IP tools, and its relevance in engineering and entrepreneurship. And he brings with him a vast amount of experience in this space, so he can really talk with authority. The third person we have today for you is a patent attorney, Dr. Girija Sriram. She is the founder of iPatentee Solutions, and she is going to give you a deep dive into patents and industrial designs as significant IP tools for entrepreneurs and engineers. One of the things that I think Prabha was also mentioning to me is very often we think patents are the only way to protect IP, but patents usually do take time, and sometimes it makes more sense to actually go in for something simpler and faster, but at the same time quite effective and relevant. So those are industrial designs, and we are going to have these three expert speakers for you today, and I hope all of you students take advantage of this. We will have question and answers post the session, but I want you guys to take the maximum benefit from these experts, and I hope you really learn a lot today. So I'll hand it over to Prabha. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kumud. Before I begin, Dr. Girija had just called me, our esteemed speaker. And while she has joined the program, she has a feeling that the controls for the video is probably monitored by you, the host, because she's not able to come on camera, is what she said. I think you need to give access. There seems to be some limitation. She's there on the program, but she's not able to show up there. You're able to hear me?
Yes, Prabha, I am able to hear you.
Okay.
I will just stop sharing so that we can get back to this. Just give me a minute.
Girija can confirm once you are done with this. She can confirm whether she is able to.
So
whether she's seen.
Yeah, Girija is seen.
Okay, you're able to see her? Okay.
Okay, even here.
No, I saw her having joined the program.
I will actually add them to stage. I think
yes, please.
Better.
So Girija, you can confirm in a bit now.
Let me also add you to the stage as well. In the meanwhile, while I sort that out, Prabha, do you want to start?
Yeah. I want to start. Just a moment. Yeah. So I had actually put out my slide, my PPT, but I think
You can share again. You can share again.
yes, anyone can confirm you're able to see the slide. Yes?
Yeah, yeah, we can
Okay.
see.
So thank you so much, Dr. Kumudini, this wonderful afternoon that you've given us. And I think it took quite a while for us, although we've been discussing about this since quite some time. And the intent has been there to address your fraternity as we've been going across the length and breadth of the state, of course, virtually at the moment. It's been, quite some time since I have gone on the offline mode, but very happy to be here virtual today to share a few cents on what we believe are the IP trends, what is in it for all of you innovators, entrepreneurs, and then startups as we go along. And what is it that the government is doing to nurture the IP ecosystem? So on that note, on behalf of the Visvesvaraya Trade Promotion Center, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Karnataka. A very warm welcome once again. This is the mandated nodal agency for the promotion of international trade from the state. Not sure, friends, how many of you are aware that we are one of those very few states in the country which has an exclusive, export promotion center. Of course, exports do happen generally, like one vertical in the
Prabha, do you want to start the slideshow?
Actually, the slideshow, when I'm putting it in that mode, it's not moving. That's the reason I've come back to this.
Okay, just try again once.
I'll try again. I did go in for the slideshow, but then the cursor, doesn't move further to the next slide if I do that. Yeah, it's come now.
Yeah.
Great. So friends, on behalf of the Visvesvaraya Trade Promotion Center, welcome once again. So before I introduce our organization, which has the mandate for export promotion, let's first pat ourselves on our back. Like honestly, although, with all humility yet, we pride ourselves to say kudos Karnataka. And I'm sure all of you virtually can also give a big round of applause when you see these points out there, when we say that this is a slice of our feats. Very recently, my dear friends, you'll be happy to know that in the month of October, Karnataka got the achiever status as far as the logistics scenario is concerned. So leads to 2022 is all about logistics, ease of doing, business through the logistics space. And that's where we have been ranked in the achiever status. Under this, which is very, very important for exports to function, we have been ranked number one in quality of warehousing services and overall operating and regulatory environment as I've put out there. We've been ranked number two in quality of overall logistics services that we provide as a state. And of course, number three in overall infrastructure. And recently in the month of March, April, around March end, Karnataka was ranked number three in its recent Export Promotion Index, EPI Index. This was granted by Niti Aayog. Now, what was jubilant about this moment was that it was indeed a wow moment for all of us. That's because we were positioned ninth last year. And prior to that also, the rankings were not pretty good. But then sudden spurt from ninth position to a third slot shows and proves that there's enormous potential out here in the state. And I'm sure each individual, all of you out there, budding and young potential and prospective entrepreneurs and exporters, will add value in the times to come. So this was indeed a wow moment. And we have been ranked as the major innovative state by Niti Aayog consecutively for the third time. So that's also quite an achievement. But then, of course, I'll need to alert you that, being a major innovative state also has, some of its blips, because, it also shows, and the results have shown that while we have done pretty well in couple of indicators in the IP space, as Dr. Kumud was rightly pointing out, we had discussed this. IP tools like trademarks, industrial designs, where tremendous potential exists, that's where we seem to be trailing behind. And that's why a very big call to all of you to associate intellectual property not just with patents, but with the entire gamut of IP tools. And I'll show you how as we go along. Of course, Karnataka has always been a pioneer. Host of policies, my dear friends, you name it, and we've been there. So way back in time when the IT policy, a sectoral policy like an IT policy was announced in Karnataka, we were the first state in the country. And we went on to have, different editions. And right now we have the revised version 2020 to 25 IT policy. We also have been pioneers in a couple of other policies like the one of its kind biotech policy in the country, which Karnataka has. We have the ESDM policy, we have a retail trade policy, and all of you know that electric vehicle, we're talking so much about that. We have one of its kind, and we've been one of the pioneers there also, coming out with an exclusive EV policy. And we of course have the Karnataka startup policy. And a lot of these policies, my dear friends, are being implemented by the Karnataka IT/BT SNT department. Of course, we always, pride ourselves to be leaders across various verticals. And again, name it, we are there. So I've put out a few out there. When it comes to silk, number one there, number one in coffee production. Precision engineering, we are number one there. Aerospace, leading player. Biotech, in fact, we are also called as a biotech hub. We are the fourth largest technology cluster in the world. We are the cradle of the Indian banking system, and so many, many more. Coming to the organization I represent here. So as I told you already, we are the mandated nodal agency with a charter to facilitate international trade and specifically exports. And this we do through a host of incentives, initiatives, and concessions that we provide in various policies, in particular, Karnataka Industrial Policy. So Karnataka Industrial Policy has a 5-year term, and the latest one that was released was during COVID time, 2020 to 2025 industrial policy for the state. And the industrial policy, besides announcing incentives for industries and others to function, we also have an exclusive chapter dedicated to export promotion. And that's where VTPC implements those incentives and initiatives. So some of them I have put out here as a mandated agency, facilitation and addressal of exporter grievances, and a lot of capacity building programs. We conduct a lot of capacity building programs. We have the incisive 6 days course, which may be of great interest to budding entrepreneurs and people who want to get into the export space. We have export awareness, and if colleges want specifically customized to the needs of your fraternity, we can call it as an export training program, which would be an abridged version of the incisive 6 days EMTP. You can talk to us about it in case colleges are interested. Now, out of all these that I've put out, interesting ones, we have export awards. There is one particular assistance that we provide, because of which also the nodal agency would be popular generally in the trade fraternity, is the market development assistance. So how this works is that a lot of, the chambers of commerce and embassies, they all take you on foreign delegations. They announce foreign trips, foreign delegations, right? And we also do that. And if you want to be part of any of those foreign delegations as an exporter, then this market development assistance is a very attractive scheme wherein we have, a TADA component, and almost 75% of the airfare is reimbursed. I'll get to that little later. I've put out a slide for that as well about the specifics. We also facilitate special economic zones from the state, and we also have been the pioneer in coming out with an exclusive geographical indications policy, about which I'll be touching upon in a short while, because as you may be aware, geographical indications is also one of the intellectual property tools in the entire IP spectrum, like as you have patents, copyrights, trademarks, and others. GI is an important tool which impacts the artisans of the state, of a society, and it's generally a community right. And while we talk more about patents, as in for inventions, and we talk about trademarks, power of the brand, industrial designs, much is not being spoken about this particular segment, which represents the socio-economic grassroots. So I just want to ignite a few thoughts in you to tell you, hey, look at this IP tool as well, which is like pretty simple to understand in the first place. And then you can start thinking as to how you and me as a common citizen, including, let's say, an office boy or a housemaid, everybody can think about this particular IP tool as to how he or she can add value. And you learn a little in a little while from now how I say and how I claim that every citizen of the country can actually contribute. Just spreading it as a viral message, in the good sense, cascading it across society and the different fraternity and different groups itself would be a big contribution on your part. Right? So we'll come to that a little later. So Karnataka has been the first state, the pioneer in the country, to come out with an exclusive policy to protect the artisans of the state, which is nothing but an intellectual property right, as I said. More initiatives. We have something called TIES, TIE scheme. This is a particular scheme which is, connected and related to export infrastructure. So any institution, it could be academic institute as well, not just industry bodies. Any institution which wants to set up, some kind of a unit or some kind of a venture which is going to benefit by and large the society, the state, in terms of exports, we encourage that. And you'll be happy to know that some of the academic institutions in the past have availed the former avatar of this scheme, which was called as ASIDE, ASIDE scheme, which the central government actually implements. And in the state, VTPC is the nodal agency for monitoring this particular scheme. So, institutions there are some institutions in town which have actually availed this and set up some units which promote exports. Then, you know that Honorable Prime Minister has been talking so much about how we can transform ourselves into a $5 trillion economy. So how do you think that vision can be fructified? Can it just happen only with, let's say, merchandise exports, or only talking about IT exports? The reason why we've come out with this particular service sector strategy is that we are talking about champion services. While we all know that there are n number of services in the country where trade is also happening, but we have identified, the nation has identified something called as champion services. And there are 24, out of which 12 were shortlisted by Government of India. And out of those 12, Karnataka identified 6 champion services which we believe in the first phase would work well for the state given the enormous potential. So what are those champion service sectors? I'm telling all this because this is food for thought for you. You can see how much of scope there is to work further. Now we're going to focus under the champion services bandwagon. We have identified education sector, education space. You'll be so happy to know about it. We've also identified health and wellness. We've identified media and entertainment. We also are talking about transport and logistics, remittances and immigration, construction and allied engineering services. So these are the 6 champion services where we believe, all of us can together rock the space given the tremendous potential. We are also working very closely and very holistically on the integrated development of the logistics sector in the state, because as you know, be it exports or be it manufacturing, logistics, transport, all of this play a very, very crucial role. Ease of doing business cannot happen if these sectors are nimble, right? So that's the reason why we're giving a lot of thrust to the development of logistics sector. And as recent as not even a month ago, we have announced the logistics action plan or policy, as we can call it, for Karnataka. And this comes close on the heels of the nation having announced a national logistics policy. In fact, Karnataka's work started way back, maybe 3-4 years ago, even before government of India thought about the national logistics plan. So that's another actually, feat for Karnataka. Now, a lot of, talk is being done about Atmanirbhar, as you all know. We're talking about self-reliance. We're talking about Government of India's vision for vocal for local and then local to global. And under these initiatives, we're talking about ODOP. You must have heard about this, one district, one program. So the premise, my dear friends, was that a state like Uttar Pradesh, which has so many districts, has come up with one policy for each of its districts. Similarly, inspired by that, Government of India felt, why not all the states across the country come up with its own ODOP? Like Karnataka, as you know, has 30 districts. So we have identified one particular commodity for each district which we are going to focus upon. That is the ODOP. And there is one more scheme called ODOFP, which is about the farm products. ODOP is the industry part. ODOFP is Government of India has identified and they've told states that align with us and you identify your own farm products. And Karnataka also has identified across its district, various districts, we've identified various crops, vegetables, the farm, produce that can be promoted under that particular scheme. Then another of these Atmanirbhar, we have developing districts as export hubs. So I was talking about ODOP and ODOFP, which are, one particular commodity or focus or thrust would be given, right? But what about other kinds of, the other basket of goods, commodities or verticals that may also have potential? So does it mean we are going to leave them out? No, that will be addressed under GOIs, developing districts as export hubs, which I have put out in that slide. So developing district as export hubs is like a basket of verticals that would be promoted under this scheme. And we've identified, what are these spaces that we're going to promote. And similarly, the setting up of export development centers. This is where, the e-commerce enablement of artisans across various products, be it exports and others, will come into play. Now, to quickly give you a sneak peek into the major exports and imports of the state, here we are. We are number one in software services. We contribute almost 40%. We are very strong, as I said, in aerospace and defense. Then, these are the export components. Then precision engineering, this is what we export. Ready-made garments, coffee, processed cashews, rose onions, big time. That's a 100% export-oriented unit. Gherkins as well. Then all of these medicinal plants, vegetable extracts, pharmaceuticals, petroleum products, these are the leading ones as far as exports is concerned. And of course, agarbatti being a very major industry in the state under the handicraft segment. And when it comes to import, again, crude petroleum we import and then we also export the actual petroleum products. Then we import electronics, medical instruments, fertilizers, life-saving drugs. This is Karnataka's export performance for the last 5 years. So you can take a look at this. You can see the kind of commodities that have come in besides the IT sector, which is A. And of course, we have the merchandise goods exports where you have all these sectors, which I was telling you, where we are strong. Yeah, so this is where we are, my dear friends, when it comes to growth in terms of percentages. So if you look at the financial year 2021-22, we have registered a 19.13% growth. So if you look at the table on the right hand side, you can see the total merchandised exports comparison. And there you can see, like all India, it has grown at 44%, 0.9%. And Karnataka is in the 4th position as far as overall merchandise exports is concerned. You can see that growth wise, we have done pretty well even compared to players like Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, who are actually 2 notches higher above us. And the overall all India growth also, if you see, our growth seems pretty remarkable, which shows that there is tremendous potential. We need to work still further on that. And if you look at the other table, which talks about overall services and merchandise put together, there again you can see Karnataka's growth. We've done 35.3%. And if you look at state-wise position in overall exports, overall, so we're putting merchandise and services sector together, Karnataka stands second. So Gujarat, of course, is at the top. So we should now be aiming at number 1. Now, this is the MDA scheme I was telling you that in the industrial policy, in the export promotion chapter, for exporters who want to go abroad on a foreign delegation. So is that not pretty interesting and exciting? I think that slide is self-explanatory for you. So we have a breakup called South American countries and rest of the world, other countries. And minimum 75% of airfare is reimbursed. And of course, you have your stall rentals, freight charges, DA component, and all that as a breakup. And then that was for international trade fairs I was telling you. This is for domestic participation. Now, what if our MSMEs and all these units want to set up, participate, let's say, in a trade fair within the country or in the state? Then this is the scheme that is in place. So you have 100% of stall rent up to a maximum of 25,000, and then DA component at 1,000 rupees per day, and of course the TA component as you can see it. Now coming to nurturing intellectual property, this is how VTPC has been conducting itself for over the past so many years. We conduct several awareness sensitization programs across various facets of intellectual property rights. As you can see, spanning the spectrum of IP creation, starting from creation. In fact, ideation, I would say, would be the first stage. And as a prelude, we do innovation warm-up sessions. IP protection, then IP patent search, IP search I would call it as, because you can even do a trademark search, copyright search. But then, when we do a lot of, patent programs, we call it as patent or prior art search. Then how do you go about filing your IPs? How do you commercialize, road to market? And how do you manage your IP portfolio? So specifically with each of these facets, depending and customizing it to the needs of the fraternity, be it a startup, be it entrepreneurs, be it colleges, we customize it to your needs. And of course, we also launch IP cells across academic institutes. We have done it in the past for BNMIT, for Acharya Institutes, for Oxford College of Engineering, Sir MVIT, and also Sahyadri College of Engineering and Management. And through these IP cells, I'm happy to tell you that our fraternity, the academic fraternity, has taken keen interest and they've started filing, IPs. I would say IPs because they're filing patents, they're filing industrial designs, copyrights, and glad to say that my good friend Dr. Girija, who's here on the panel today, she's also been instrumental and one of those persons passionately been driving this space and helping academia in this endeavor with the IP cells. And yes, as I told you already, through IP initiatives. Now, I told you export promotion chapter we have, so we also have announced some IP incentives there. So if entrepreneurs, if the innovators want to file patents, so this is restricted to patents as of now in our policies. So we have patent reimbursement, which is announced by different government departments. If you're interested, I can take you through at a later stage or maybe in the question hour. And of course, we spoke about the GI policy for the state. So these are some of the intellectual property tools which will be covered by Dr. Ramurthy sir, who's actually done a lot of IP promotion, IP facilitation, and helped academia file patents big time. And he is an inventor, he's an inventor himself. So he will take us all through the various IP tools and how you can leverage it in entrepreneurship. But I've just put it out here as a summary. So these are some of the key IP tools: patents, trademarks, copyrights, right? You have industrial designs, traditional knowledge, our grandma recipes, and you have neem, turmeric. You must have heard of all those cases, landmark victory cases for India, which neem, turmeric and all belong to our rich repository. So how, people tried to mess up and we said, no, we mean business. And that's where we are, and that's traditional knowledge for you. GIs, of course, and trade secrets. These are all important IP tools. Now, this is how you can protect quickly, because as I told you, the detailing will be done by Ramurthy sir. Now, as I was saying, we were discussing about patents and industrial designs. Industrial designs basically, it covers the aesthetics of any commodity or product. So if you or I believe that, hey, we are not technical, or there may be friends, many friends of yours who may not be in the technical space, then you may be wondering, how is it that I can file a patent? Because patent, after all, is a techno-legal document. And I need to be perhaps be an engineer or technical. No, industrial design doesn't ask for that. Patent, of course, there's a technical functionality involved, but industrial design, the basic aesthetics. So let's say you have this pen itself, right? You may come up with a fancy kind of a shape for it. Let's say only the aesthetics part, or maybe this mouse. You've seen the typical mouse that we have. If you come out with a different kind of a design, that is the aesthetic part. And if you believe that nobody else has come up with such kind of an innovation, you can go and check whether you can file an IP for that under what is called as industrial design. Similarly, this AC remote in my hand. If you believe that the aesthetics alone for any kind of a product, you have some ingenuity about you and done something specific out there, please go ahead, check with experts to see whether you can file an IP called as industrial design. And the cost wise also, it's not pretty much as compared to patents. Then protect your brand. Do not lose that. Trademarks, while the IP law, the Trademark Act doesn't make it compulsory for you to register your trademark. There's no compulsion, but there are many good reasons to why we must register a trademark for our venture, for our company, for our outfit, because you don't want somebody to come and piggy ride on your brand value, and by that time you will realize how much you have lost along the way. Your goodwill being misused by others if you don't protect your logo or brand image on time, and that is trademark protection. So don't you think that just besides patents, which has a functionality about it, everyone in the generalist who's a generalist can look at the other IPs, right? Industrial design, I'm sure you agree with me. Trademarks, these are IPs which you can look at. Then copyrights, why not? Because this talks about literary works, music, publication. So anywhere you feel you have done any such kind of work, this can be copyright protected. You needn't have to be an Einstein and all for that. Then plant varieties. So what about, let's say, farmers or breeders of crops? They have come up with something special. So we have an IP tool there also. You have something called as plant variety protection. So it's a beautiful subject, my dear friends, where innovation is being given a particular concrete shape, idea to innovation, and then concretizing it in terms of making it IPable, checking out whether nobody else in the whole wide world, in this whole wide universe, has done this. So once you get a filing, IP filing done, once you say that you have a patent, let's say, or let's say a trademark or an industrial design, it clearly means that you are only the one and only one who has that, right? But that doesn't apply to one particular IP tool that I mentioned, which is geographical indications, because that is a community right. And that brings me to this slide. So have you heard about GI tag products, my dear friends? If not GI as an IP tool, I'm sure you have heard about Channapatna toys. When you go towards Mysore, you see those wonderful toys, right? Lacquerware toys. The lacquerware toys in Channapatna have been given the status of a geographical indication tag product, for instance. So what does that mean? Why is it that this mouse is not a GI and I'm saying Channapatna toys is a GI? That's because GIs are specific to a particular region or locality in any state or any space, I would say. Aided by that climatic factors, water, soil, the raw materials, the process, the dexterity involved, the manual methods used, the ancient kind of tools that were used long back, and which is being handed over since generation after generation is nurturing it, and they have not given up that craft. That is what makes the craft unique, and it is called as geographical indication, specific to that particular region or locality. And GIs are accorded as per the GI Act for 4 main categories. They are, manufactured goods. You have agriculture segment, handicrafts, foodstuffs, and of course, one more segment called natural goods. And we are governed by our own sui generis legislation. We have, as you all know, we were the founder member of TRIPS WTO. We were members there, and we signed the TRIPS agreement, trade-related intellectual property rights in the WTO regime. And we came up with our own act, GI Act of 1999, because we believe that it has to be customized to the needs of our audience. So when you go to the global canvas, my dear friends, some of the popular GIs which have commercialized itself very well. These are some of them. There are many more. This Idaho potatoes in US. This is supposed to be one of those popular varieties, and this particular GI tagging they have got because of the typical taste. Something very, very unique compared to what we eat, the other kinds of potatoes. And that was aided by the particular region, soil, climatic conditions, and all other factors, what I was mentioning to you. Similarly, Roquefort cheese. This has something special about it, the way it's been done. In fact, I understand that, it is stacked in caves, and where, you have read about stalactites and stalagmites in geography, right? So that particular process in those kind of caves, they keep it, and then the fermentation takes place and the process begins. And there's a whole lot of nuances that go about it to get that particular taste from that particular region. If you now take this and make it in some other state or country, you will not get that particular taste, because, as I said, specific to that region, something very, very special about it. Pingu peaches, this is in, China. And I understand that this is billed as one of the most successful cases of commercialization of a GI crop. Pingu peaches, I understand, is very popular, and they have done very well and sold themselves well in the world markets. Of course, who doesn't know Colombian coffee, Swiss watch, and Georgian wine? These are all famous examples of the international landscape. When you look at the Indian landscape, there are so many, because there are, as of now, 420 GIs registered in the country. And of that, almost, I would say, 85 to 90% are Indian GIs, because some foreign GIs would always be registered because they want to protect their turf. They don't want anybody to trespass. Somebody is speaking. Can you mute it, please? So when you come to the Indian landscape, the classic example of how a GI can go to the world markets, I would always say, is Darjeeling tea, which was the first GI registered in the country. And that is a case which has actually entered all the menu charts across the world. And this is what, and this is how we should aim to look at for all the GIs of the country, not just the state. Now you have Nagpur oranges, you have Pashmina shawl, you can see some of those pictures there. You have Alfonso mangoes, you have, the Rasgulla, which West Bengal got. Then you have Katputlis of Rajasthan, Madhubani paintings. Then and Kerala out here you have this Varakulam pineapple. Then you have Mysore traditional paintings, Coimbatore wet grinder. Some of these are the popular Indian GIs. When it comes to Karnataka, you'll be happy to know, and again pride ourselves in saying that out of the 420 GIs registered in the country nationwide, Karnataka is the leader with the maximum number of GI tags. It's actually called as 46, but I would like to call it as 42. We have 22 in agriculture space, 16 in handicrafts, 3 in manufactured, and 1 in foodstuff. 4 logos also have been granted the status of GIs, and that's how they have been very kind enough and liberal to say it's 46. So the only one GI in the foodstuff, interestingly, in the state is Dharwad Peda, which was not only Karnataka's first GI to be registered in the foodstuff segment, but also the country's first GI in the foodstuff segment that was registered. And this is a very, very, colorful collage that I love to see always, and remind myself that, hey, this is one intellectual property that each one of us, as I told you, need to promote. So check out the next 2 pages are collages of Karnataka's exclusive special products called heritage legacies, called geographical indication tag products. Just register this in your memory, my dear friends, this colorful spectacle, and never forget these 2 slides coming up, because you will at least be able to tell with pride to your friends and well-wishers that, hey, these are Karnataka's intellectual property tools. one of the tools called GIs, GI tag products. These are special products. And you should be able to, you should be a brand ambassador to talk about it, popularize it, promote it, and give a leg up to the artisans of the state. So when you look at the, when as I speak, to my left, the saris are there. And, Mysore silk was the first registered GI in the textile weave segment under the handicrafts classification. And who doesn't know about it? You have in the Bagalkot region Ilkal saris, which is a special product out there. And the process, the way they have done it, the kind of ingredients that have gone into it. When I say ingredients, for instance, I'll tell you, in the case of Ilkal saris, the waters of the rivulet Ilkal is used for bleaching, dyeing the cotton, the yarn, and then the processes that are used for that particular pallu portion, for instance, they use the soft portion of the leaves, which is converted as a brush, so that it doesn't tear off, and because otherwise it becomes brittle. So that is a special process and the manual skills that have gone into this particular sari weaving. Similarly, Molkal Muru saris in the Chitradurga region. Then you have Udupi saris, which is one particular sari which I would like people to talk more about it, patronize it, spread word in your fraternity, be it your friends, be it your moms, be it your aunts, the women fraternity. Please popularize. Tell them that this is a case of GI which was waning, but there are some curators and revivalists of traditional handloom who are trying to revive this craft. But they're facing a lot of challenges. While there are organizations like us and others who are trying to support them, but the journey is a real challenging one. And unless a lot of minds and heads and hands come together, it's a very big challenge. So please popularize, patronize them, my dear friends. You have Navalgund Daris in towards the Dharwad region. And those are also and there's a beautiful story and legend all behind it as to how a lot of women, they actually get involved in the making of these carpets. So next time when you're thinking of buying carpets for your home, please patronize the special GI products, the IPs of your state, of our state. Now, when you come to the coffees of Karnataka, very proud again to tell you that I told you in the first slide that we are the leaders in coffee production. Now, we are also called as the GI coffee hub of the country, because out of the 7 GI coffees registered in the country, Karnataka has a maximum of 5 GI coffees registered, and those are the names that I've put out there. Baba Budangiri's, Monsoon Malabar Arabica, Robusta, Chikmagalur Arabica, and of course Coorg Arabica. So you see, very, very rich in the coffee space. Then of course you have the Coorg green cardamom. That's a totally different flavor, the aroma, the color that you get. It's very special to that region in Coorg. And every GI has a mapped region. Sometimes it could be just one particular tract of land, or just few square areas or yards or acres, whatever you call it. Some could be small, some could be large tracts. So when you look at the agri segment, these are some of the popular GIs in the crop segment. Bangalore rose onion, Kamlapur red banana, Nanjangud rasbale, Bangalore blue grapes. I think you're able to see all that out there. So these are some of the popular GI crops. So please talk about them. Try to understand that we need to promote them. If you look at the flower segment, then 3 jasmine varieties, malliges, have got the GI tag status. One is the Mysore mallige, the other is the Hadgati mallige. Hadgati mallige is any problem?
Request all of you to kindly go on mute.
Kindly put it on silence, please. So 3 jasmine varieties, Hadigali towards Ballari region and Udupi Mallige, with lot of export potential. And these are the jasmine varieties. You also have Gulbarga Turdal. Just before COVID, they got the grant. And Kinhal toys, Chanapatna toys, very, very interesting. Rich repertoire we have actually of the GI products. We have Sandur Lambani embroidery, Kasuti embroidery, and there are many of them which can lend itself to mementos as well. Bidri ware for one. We have been patronizing it in several forums. Instead of just about giving some silk ties and others, which we normally tend to do, we are changing our patterns out here and trying to go the GI way. And of course, Karnataka bronze, nothing much is happening, honestly, let me tell you. But if you happen to find genuine producers of Karnataka bronze, please connect them to me. I would like to register them as authorized users for the particular craft. Then, of course, in the manufactured goods segment, you have Mysore sandal soap, which has done more than 100 years of history. Then you have the Ganjifa cards of Mysore. Mysore is the GI hub of Karnataka with a maximum 9 number of GIs, emanating from that region. Mysore rosewood inlay, traditional paintings, Mysore agarbatti, all of them, each one is a story by itself, my dear friends. And that's the reason why we need to look at it, understand them, and try to see how we can work around their ecosystem and promote them. And this is what government is trying to do. VTPC on behalf of the government of Karnataka is trying to do its bit in this space. Few of them are, like we're trying to do the authorized user drive, which means you and me cannot simply get into the production of, say, Channapatna toys, Kinhal toys, Bidriware, because they are GI tagged IP products. If you and me want to either produce or trade, we need to take what is called as an authorized user certificate, and that's what VTPC tries to facilitate and promote. You can connect with me if you know there are people working across these GI tag products, but they have not registered as authorized users. Please let me know. I'll be happy to connect with them and get them registered, because that is what we are doing under our policy as well. We've been conducting diagnostic studies of GI tag products, and this is where academia is helping us in a big way. So you can think about it. Some academic institutions in town have helped us in the conduct of studies like Bidriware, Mysore rosewood inlay, Mysore traditional paintings, Ganjifa cards of Mysore. So if you are interested, if this excites you, you can connect with us. Then, of course, at trade fairs and exhibitions, we try to promote GIs of the state. We give them stall, we give them the incentives. We have our MDA assistants, which you already saw. So it will be a better version when it comes to a trade fair like India International Trade Fair, which they set up in Pragati Maidan, New Delhi. So there the support is much better and more positive. And we try a maximum to see how we can give spotlight to the GIs also. And there's an exclusive GI bay. And of course, through the Atmanirbhar vision, I was mentioning about, for instance, ODOP and developing districts as export hubs, we have identified a basket of GIs for promotion. GI tourism, yes, just like how Goa was the first state in the country to come up with an exclusive GI pavilion at the airport, Karnataka is working on Karnataka pavilion, housing GIs and heritage products at the already the Terminal 2 is already on now, and that's where we have negotiated spaces, and we're trying to work on setting up an exclusive Karnataka pavilion to house the GIs of Karnataka. So maybe, all God willing, if everything goes well, then in the next couple of months' time, you should be able to see, when you fly in and out, you can see one of the most wonderful and colorful spectacles at Kempegowda International Airport, Terminal 2. And of course, if you walk into our Kasturba Road own office space next to Visvesvaraya Museum, then you can find on the ground floor an exclusive GI store which is coming up. We have housed quite a few GIs. It's in the last lap of getting finalized and up for a ribbon cutting. And that's where we want to showcase the GIs. And then with our Visvesvaraya Museum being just right next to us, and the UB City and iconic Kaban Park and others, we hope to leverage a lot of footfalls out here in this store. We've also been doing a lot of new GI filings. That's one initiative we have taken up, where academic institutes can also join hands. So recently we have filed one GI in the textile segment called as Pattada Anchu. That's a very ancient 200-year-old sari, which in the North Karnataka, the brides, I understand, used to wear, and we have done research and feasibility study on that and filed a GI from the state, and a matter of time when that would be granted, here's hoping. And that apart, we are working on a couple of other GIs for the state, both in the crop and handicraft segment. So on that note, I would urge each one of you to contribute towards this upcoming GI story. Promote, encourage, patronize local artisans, my dear friends. Yes, they are our pride and mirror our rich heritage and culture. So what are we waiting for? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Prabha, for that very interesting and informational talk on the IP state of, from the state of Karnataka, and all the different policies and things that, opportunities that Karnataka government is providing, and especially the GI bit. I now ask Dr. Ramurthy to kindly present his piece, and I'll just share his slides. Let me know if you can see the screen. Sir, can you see the screen as well?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I can see the slide, but can you hear me from my side?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Rama sir, we can hear you. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Shall we start then?
Yes, sir. And if you just say next slide, I'll move the
Sure.
slides.
Okay. Thank you for your help. Okay. This is the intellectual property rights for entrepreneurs, and just now the first speaker Prabha has given some introduction about this IP. Now I will touch upon some specific points. I will cover other types of IP other than patents and industrial design, because other speaker is going to cover. Next. So this is called something about innovation. I think you have to press once again the button. Okay, the next slide. Okay, creativity, invention, and innovation. See, there is some distinction between these three words. Now, creativity is thinking up of new things, and invention is something new. Create and something shows it can be made in unique way, and then the innovation is making it commercially viable. So innovation is the practical application and use of the invention. Next. So as I told, invention is the unique solution to a problem. See, if there is a problem, normally what do we do? Brainstorming sessions and find out so many solutions. Out of that, the unique solution becomes an invention. Unique in the sense it is something new which others have not done so far. So, and there are two types of inventions. One type of invention where it is an improvement over the earlier machine or product. For example, your cell phone, the telephone started so many years back, and now the improvements have taken place, and each improvement is an invention. And an invention which is completely breakthrough, like penicillin and electricity, so they are called as the breakthrough inventions. So these are the two types of inventions, and it may be a product, it may be a process, or it may be even a software also. Next. So I will give an example for an invention. So invention is defined as a new product or a process involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application. What do you mean by inventive step? That means there should be some technical advancement in your invention. So one of the examples recently is the latest technology on the environment pollution control. So there is a tower which has been built. It will absorb the polluted air and gives you the fresh air. And this is a patented ion technology. It is developed in Delft University at Netherlands. Next. I think this is most welcome by the students. It's a self-washing jeans, a cotton that de-stains and deodorizes itself in contact with sunlight. So don't worry about washing it, you just put it in the sunlight. This cloth is covered by a special coating of titanium dioxide, and it breaks down the dirt and stains which exposed to sunlight. Next. Now you should understand the difference between invention and innovation. Now you should, there is one saying telling all the inventions are innovations, but all the innovations are not patentable inventions. See, supposing you find out, for example, Jugaad, the inventions, that is simple inventions which are being done, and that cannot be patented. So inventions, all inventions are innovations, and all the innovations are not patentable inventions. Invention can be also defined as the first occurrence of an idea for a new product or a process. And innovation is the first commercialization of the idea. There is no point in having an invention unless you commercialize it. And if you commercialize it, becomes an innovation. Now, how do you turn this invention into innovation? It requires a lot of efforts of knowledge, capabilities, skills, and resources. Next. Next. Now, this can be summarized like this. So there is a problem means you will get a new idea, you will get fresh new idea. So that idea should be converted into an invention first. That is called process of invention. And from the invention, you have to go to the innovation. That is called process of innovation. So that's how the idea becomes an innovation finally. Next. Now, the classic example of invention and innovation is a wheel. Thousands of years back, a wheel was invented in a stone. Later on, they did it in wood and then with spokes, and later on with the tires and tubes. Now, the latest invention in the tires is tubeless tires. So that's how the innovations had taken place in the case of tires. Next. Here also a new type of cycle where you can see it is removes the need of a chain, so it works on the friction of a wheel with another wheel. Next. I think this is the innovation in daily life. So this you will understand, because of the onions will bring tears. So this can be avoided. These are small innovations in daily life. Now don't ask me whether it can be patented. No, it cannot be patented. It is a small jugaad innovation. Next. So innovations, I can say, is the combination of what is possible with the technology, what is desirable to the user, and what is viable in the marketplace. So it is linked with business and technology, both. Next. Now, having given this introduction about the innovation invention, now we should know how to protect your invention. Suppose you make an invention, there are already so many people to copy it. So if they copy it, you can't do anything unless you take a protection of your invention. So inventions are protected by intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights can also be told as the rights given to a person over the creations of their minds. So they usually give the creator an exclusive right over the use of his or her creation for a certain period of time. So this intellectual property of India, this is the logo used by intellectual property of India by the Patent Office. Next. Now, intellectual property rights means it is not only the patents. There are several aspects of it. These are known as the different tools of the intellectual property rights. So one is the patent, of course. The next is trademarks, copyrights, designs, IC layout, geographical indications, and plant varieties. In addition to all these things, there is one more called trade secrets. Now, suppose you have an invention, you can protect it in two ways. One is you can keep it as a trade secret, another by a patent, or any one of these things. The disadvantage of trade secret, it is not legally protected. The trade secret, the life of the secret is still it is disclosed. But there are classic examples of trade secrets which I will go through when I go through the other presentations. Next. Now what I will do is I will summarize the different types of intellectual property rights and what it is. Now first of all, let us consider the copyright. What do you mean by copyright? Copyright means it gives the creator of the original work and it gives the exclusive right, and this is controlled by the Copyright Act of 1957 and Copyright Rules of 1958. Remember, copyright protects the expression of ideas and not the idea per se. idea per se cannot be protected by IPR, only the expression of ideas. For example, in the case of softwares, if you have an idea, you write it in the form of a computer program. That writing the computer program is known as the expression of ideas, and that can be protected by copyright. And next comes the patent. A patent grants an inventor exclusive right to make, use, sell, and import an invention for a limited period of time. And you will get a patent for a product or a process. So the Patent Act 1970 and Patent Rules 2003, of course, these rules are getting amended recently, and because latest amendments on food, pharma, and chemical inventions have taken place, and the life of a copyright is 60 years plus life of the author. Suppose you write a book, you have got a copyright on that, so your remaining life plus 60 years is the life of the copyright. And in the case of patent, it is 20 years from the date you file it in the patent office. Next. Next comes trademark. This is another one which is very important type of intellectual property, and it has got a life of 10 years and it can be further renewed after 10 years. At the every 10 years you have to renew it. What do you mean by trademark? A trademark is a recognizable sign or design or expression which identifies products or services. I will give you more examples as I go through this. And this is controlled by the Trademark Act 1999 and Trademark Rules 2002. Next. Trade secret. Trade secret is also one of the ways we can protect your invention, but the life of the trade secret may be 1 minute to several years. I will give you the examples for all these things. A trade secret is it may be a formula, it may be a practice, it may be a process, it may be a design, instrument, pattern, or compilation of confidential information. See, in the case of companies, the HR keeps the CV and other salary information, everything confidential, and that's a trade secret. But when once it is disclosed, it loses its life. Next comes design. Design means it is also called as the industrial design. This design has nothing to do with your machine design or electronic design or any other design. In the language of intellectual property, industrial design protects only the external shape of an object. So an industrial design right protects the object shape and configuration containing the aesthetic value. For example, you have seen different designs of cars. How do you distinguish Audi car with a Maruti car? So by the shape. So these shapes are protected by designs. And it is controlled by Design Act 2000 and Design Act Rules 2001. Next. Geographical indications. I think Madam Prabha has explained to you in detail, and it has got a life of 10 years and it goes on renewal. And geographical indications, there is no single inventor. It belongs to a group of people. For example, Mysore silk. Hello? Hello?
Request all of you to kindly go on mute.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. See, in the case of geographical indication, it is little different from other types of intellectual property rights. Here, there is no particular inventor. For example, Mysore silk, it has got a geographical indication. It belongs to a group of people, and it belongs to the owner of the geographical indicator is the Karnataka state, but it is assigned to a group of people also. So geographical indication is a name or sign used for certain products which corresponds to a specific geographical location. So by the name itself, we can say it is Mysore. Similarly, Kolhapur chappals, etc. All these things have been told by Prabha recently. Now, next, the last one is about the IC layout, that is layout designs or topographies of integrated circuits, semiconductor integrated circuits layout, and this Design Act. This one is also protected. Any new type of layout design you make for integrated circuits, that comes under Design Act 2000. This also the life is 10 years. Okay, what I told is just the summary of whatever about IPR. Now we will go to specific ones. Previous one, please. Previous. Okay. Now you should understand that intellectual property right, there are 7 types I told you. Now, for example, this Coca-Cola, it has been protected by several types of intellectual properties. Now it has been protected by patent by Coca-Cola bottle, how to manufacture that. And it is protected by a trademark on the, we can see Coca-Cola, the way it is written, and it is written by word Coca-Cola in a particular way. That is the trademark of Coca-Cola. And it is also protected by copyright. That is, the logo is protected by copyright. And the bottle design is protected by aesthetically, it is designed aesthetically, and it is registered under design. And also this trademark is also there. And what is important is the brown liquid, what you see inside, it is a trade secret. So you can take a bottle of Coca-Cola and start doing re-engineering. You may not produce the same type of taste and liquid that is there. And how it is done is kept as a trade secret. It seems it knows to 3 brothers of Coca-Cola, and they kept it as a trade secret. Next one. Now coming to patent, I think this one also is going to be dealt in detail by our colleague Girija Sriram. But I'll tell you just a summary of this. Patent is an exclusive right given by the government for a limited period in exchange of disclosure of the invention. And there are 3 basic conditions to get the invention. It should be novel, that means it should be new. Non-obvious is nothing but it should have some technical advancement, and it should be useful. And there are different types of patents. It may be biological patents, business patents in US, and chemical patents, etc. Next. Now, any invention, for example, engineering inventions, any product, for example, can be protected by both patents and also design. For example, here you can see the design of a particular bus. Okay, inventions are protected by patents and designs. Patents protect you the way the invention works. How this engine works here, it has got the patent, but how the complete the bus looks, it is protected by a design. Next. Now, trade secret, I would like to take it in some more details. Trade secret is a set of intellectual property rights held by owner for an undisclosed information of value. These may include methods, processes, or data which is not disclosed to the public. For example, the Coca-Cola, how it is manufactured is kept as a trade secret. They are guarded in a complete chamber with steel doors and all that. And another type of trade secrets, the trade secret is also applicable to customer list, optimum manufacturing conditions, or even the invention. And invention can also be kept as trade secret if you don't want to have a detailed protection like a patent, which takes long time. You can keep it as a trade secret also. A trade secret owner must take reasonable steps to keep the information secret in order to keep it right. So people say if you have it, for example, jewelry manufacturing, there are certain trade secrets which they want to give it to their sons or daughters or whoever it is. They write everything in a sheet of paper and keep it in a locker so that others won't have access. Next. One more example for trade secret. There is one fish medicine of chronic asthma patients in Hyderabad, a traditional treatment known as Batini Goat Brothers of Hyderabad. See, this medicine is put in a particular type of fish, and they will put directly into your mouth. They will not tell you what is the medicine, what is the type of fish. You have to open your mouth and they will keep it. And it seems it is given on an auspicious day, and it is written by astrological calculations. But people has got some benefit from this, and this is kept as a trade secret. Next. Another example for Coca-Cola we already discussed. Another is KFC's recipes for other soft drinks like Coca-Cola and products, and KFC, Kentucky Fried Chickens, that is kept as a trade secret, and McDonald's special sauce. They're all closely guarded trade secrets. It seems this KFC chicken, they use some 13 hubs or so to get the taste, which they are not disclosing. Next. Now coming to another important type of copyrights, that is called copyrights. How do you say copyrights? You can see C in a circle. When you open a book, when you go to library, when you open a book, you can put a C in a circle. That is the copyright of the publishers. So a copyright is a set of intellectual property rights granted to the creator of a original work. An author also get the copyright of that. Later he can assign it to a publisher also. Now eligible work include music, lyrics, books, performance rights, paintings, sculptures, motion pictures, sound recordings, drawings, and software. Here, computer software is protected by copyrights in India. But in the case of US, they give a patent for this also, for software. But in India, they have modified. If your software is also using a hardware that is called embedded system, then you can get a patent here for software. That means software plus combined with the hardware, you will get a patent in India. The best example for this is a washing machine which has got a software to control speed, load, and temperature, etc. And also the hardware. The complete machine is called an embedded system, and you can get a patent for this. But software per se cannot get a patent in India, it gets only a copyright. Now, the copyright is okay. Now I will ask the question to the audience, which I am not seeing anybody, but I think you can give me the answer at the end of the session. Who owns the copyright of Mahabharata? See, in this picture, Ganesha is writing and Vyasa Maharshi is giving the information, and I want an answer for this question at the end. Next. Now, see, for getting a patent, I told you there are 3 conditions. It should be novel, it should have inventive steps and useful. Similarly, what is the criteria to get a copyright protection? Suppose you write a book or develop a software, what is it you are going to get? Copyright protection will be available if the following 2 conditions are fulfilled. One is the originality. See, originality means it should be your own work. You should not copy it from others. Now, next, reduction into tangible form. So reduction into tangible form means you have to write it in the form of a book or a software, or it can be a painting, it may be something which is in the tangible form. So if these 2 conditions are satisfied, you will get a copyright protection. Next. Now, term of the copyright protection, it is a little different for different types. Published literary work, dramatic work, cinematography, film, musical work, and artistic work, sound recording. The lifetime of the author plus 60 years after death. So this is in India, but in US it is 100 years. Now, in the case of broadcast of reproduction rights is 25 years, and performance rights it is 50 years. Next. Now coming to software, it is more relevant to the engineering students or even engineers or even startup companies or entrepreneurs. When you develop a software using computer, that can be protected by copyright only. The computer programs are a part of literary work. That's how they define in the intellectual property laws. Copyright Act 1957 says even computer software is copyrightable, and this is a literary work. That's what they say. So here what you do is you write a set of instructions, and based on that you give the details, and that can be protected by copyright. So copyright for the computer software, you should know about it. Next. And most of you know who have developed the software, it has got source code and object code. Although copyright comes into being with the writing of the source code, it is the object code which gives the actual instructions that control the computer when the program is being executed, which is generally protected by copyright. In most instances, the source code is never revealed to the public and thus remained as a trade secret. But the other instructions are given how to use the program that can be copyrightable. That is, the object code is copyrightable. The Copyright Office regards the source code and object code as equivalent to purpose of registration. Some people give both also. The next. Now, what do you mean by piracy? This is happening everywhere, even in India or even abroad also. So, piracy, software piracy means it is the act of stealing software that is legally protected. See, when you want to buy a software, you will be buying first time. Later on, if I make number of copies of that, and if you want, you can sell it and make money out of it. It is called piracy. The stealing includes selling, distributing, modifying, or copying the software. This is happening, but legally it is not correct, but it happens. Next. Now, what do you mean by infringement? See, infringement in legal language is nothing but copying. Previous one, please. Oh, next. Okay.
This is the next one, sir.
Okay, sorry. See here, exceptions. There are certain exceptions where you can copy. See, for example, the Copyright Act balances individual interest versus public interest by providing certain exceptions. See, for example, for the purpose of research, you are taking the information from others, but you have to quote it in your work from where you have taken it. So, for the sake of purpose of research, you can take it from somebody else with the permission. And if you are writing a review of an article, you can take the information from the copyrighted information. Reporting current events in connection with judicial proceedings, we can take it. Performance amateur club for the performance given for a non-paying audience. See, for example, there are so many music that is available in the YouTube. If you want to hear it, there is no problem. But if you play it in a public and start collecting some 50 rupees from each of them, that's a crime. So making the sound recordings of literary, dramatic and musical works under certain conditions. In certain conditions means only for the purposes like research or education purposes. See, for example, I have taken the information, most of the information from the Google. I am using it for education purpose, for teaching purpose. That is not a copyright infringement. Next. Okay, copyright infringement means an unauthorized act of limitation of original work. So copyright owners can take legal action. See, what are the remedies you give? See, suppose you can go to court for this. So you will get injunctions. That means temporary stay orders they will give to prevent unauthorized selling, and pay damages also. So whatever the losses you have got, and they'll freeze accounts. And it can even be civil as well as criminal offense. So you have got both imprisonment and also fine, and it is a cognizable offense. Next. I will give one more classic example. I think most of you might have seen in the YouTube. There is one monkey called Naruto in I think African countries. Next slide. See here, what happened was one of the photographers went to a forest and he started taking photos of the animals, and he left it in the selfie mode, and he went some outside. A monkey came and pressed the button, and it got a selfie in his camera. So what this photographer did was, this is a selfie of a monkey. So he started making, distributing to the friends. I don't know whether he made money out of it or not. So here there is one organization called PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. they went to the court telling the copyright belongs to the monkey and not to the photographer, because the monkey has pressed the button and it has taken selfie. So it's a famous case of copyright, and let us see what happened next. See what happened. It took several years to solve this problem. Judges in the US deemed the monkey was ineligible to hold copyright over the image, because copyright laws hold good only for human beings and not for animals. So that's how the photographer got the copyright and not the monkey. Anyway, he was asked to give some money to the PETA for that. Okay, next is plagiarism. I think most of you know, the people who are writing theses and reports, they will make a plagiarism check. I think people are aware of this. Plagiarism is the act of presenting another's work or ideas as your own. So this is happening everywhere, but they have got a certain percentage is allowed, because you will be referring to the earlier reports and thesis. But it is very important for the universities to remember this. Next. Now, plagiarism in movies. Plagiarism is nothing new in Bollywood. Many filmmakers are copied from Hollywood, from posters to plots, from film characters to movie song, and copied many things. And you can see a 1954 movie is copied to Hindi in 1982. Next. Similarly, Chachi 420 was a very famous movie. It was also copied from the earlier Mrs. Doubtfire. From 1993, it was copied again in 1997. Next. And the famous picture Aradhana, in 1969, it was the very famous movie, and it has a lot of resemblance from 1946 Hollywood film, To Each His Own. Next. And there was a court case between Ilayaraja and S.P. Balasubramaniam. See, S.P. Balasubramaniam made a tour in US, and he started singing the creations made by Ilayaraja. So Ilayaraja thought, oh, the SPB is giving and making money, it is my creations. So he went to the court, and they got a legal notice to stop that program. The next, see what happened was, later on, they settled out of the court and they came to an agreement. And that's how the court decided to go out of the people decided to go outside the court to settle the issue. Next. Now, the recent movie, I think most of you have seen this Varaha Rupam. This is in the movie here. This Varaha Rupam song, people say it has been copied from Kerala. Copy of this song, Navarasam, released some 5 years ago. So it is still, the case is going on, and they got a interim relief telling that song can be played, but it takes some more time to settle in the court. So this is happening frequently in the case of movies. Next. And regarding the plagiarism in academia and journalism, in academia, it will happen with students, professors, researchers. It is happening. It's an act of dishonesty and fraud, and a lot of people have been punished also in this. And journalism also, plagiarism is considered as a breach of journalistic ethics. See, this you must have seen in TVs. Only certain channels are given permission to show the live shows of the cricket match. So in case other channels want to show, they have to take they will put courtesy of so and so. So this is also very important. This plagiarism happens in journalism. So that's also one should be careful. Next. See, in the case of academia, professors and researchers, plagiarism is how it is punished by sanctions ranging from suspension to termination, along with the loss of credibility and integrity. Charges of plagiarism against students and professors are typically heard by internal disciplinary committees, which students and professors have agreed. I think this is known to everybody in this. Next, coming to trademarks. Trademarks, whenever you buy an item in a mall or a shop, you will see either TM and R. I think most of you must have observed this. A trademark is a set of intellectual property rights granted to identify a source of good or service. The trademark grants its owner the right to exclusively use the mark in relation to the corresponding products. Trademark may be a name, word, phrase, logo, image, or other identifiers. TM means trademark that shows the trademark has been applied but not yet granted. R in a circle shows it is a trademark has already been granted. You can see these marks on any electronic product or any, even if you buy some of the cookers, pressure cookers also we can see. Next. So a trademark may be designated by the following symbols. TM for unregistered trademark. Unregistered means still it is not granted. There is also one more thing called as SM for unrecognized service mark. So it is mark used to promote brand services, and R in a circle always represents the registered trademark. Next. Now you can see thousands and thousands of trademarks in your day-to-day life. So all these things, most of this you can see. And suppose people who are sitting in the audience, I am sure they may be having at least some 5 or 6 trademarks. Your glasses, your shirts, your pants, your shoes, and your socks, everything has got a trademark on that. Next. So sometimes it is said trademark with a gap, and sometimes with a it's a single word, sometimes they will say with a hyphen. They are all same. But what it means is a distinctive sign or indicator used by an individual or business organization and other legal entities for products, services, and consumers. Next. Examples of TM, that is trademarks unregistered. So after some time, when the grant ends, this TM becomes R, registered trademark. Next. What do you mean by service mark? A service mark is a word, phrase, symbol, or design, or a combination thereof that identifies, distinguishes the source of service rather than goods. Say, for example, the Asaprakash Hotel in Mysore, they have got a service mark. Similarly, travel, for example, Indian Airlines or Air India, they are all service marks. So a trademark is often used both for trademark and service marks. Next. So Kingfisher, I think it may not exist now. That's also a service mark. Next. Now, for example, Girl Scouts, Silver Peace, Turbine Services, and Medical Services, they are all service marks. Next. Now, there are some unconventional forms of trademarks. For example, smell and sound also can be trademarks. For example, UK, there is a small rose smell for a tire. They have a particular brand. And similarly, floral fragrance reminiscent for plumeria blossoms, for seeing thread and embroidery arms. And similarly, Pillsbury, I think you must have seen in your TVs, previous please. Pillsbury for childless women, and MGM Lions Roar, that's also an unconventional form of trademark. Next. Certification mark. A certification mark is, for example, TUV is a company which certifies the quality of a product. Similarly, wool, for example, in Kashmir, it's a certification mark. Next. Collective mark. A collective mark is a word, phrase, or symbol or design, a combination thereof. It is given to a group of people. It indicates the source of goods or services. Next. And domain names also, there are thousands and millions that wherever there is a .com, that's a domain name. Next. So again, the infringement of trademark like copyright, again it's a trademark is said to be infringed. When do you say your trademark is infringed? If you make a mark which is identically or deceptively similar, it becomes an infringement. And the use of this identical or similar goods to cause some confusion in the public. If, for example, Philips, PHILIPS, somebody made a PHILLIPS in Delhi, and from a distance it looks same color combination, again it's an infringement. Next. Starbucks coffee, and the center one is the original, and the outside ones, they're all duplicates, you can see. But they use the same color combination and confuse the people. Next. Similarly, infringement for Sony, Ericsson, and Clearwire. Here the figure looks different, but color combination is same. Again, it is cheating it confuses the people. Next. Similarly, colorable trade dispute. See, these two, they have the same color combination. Okay. So this color combination confuses the people. So that's also a type of trademark infringements. Next. Here, the famous chocolate shown here, a portion has been removed from that cover to attract the people or children to taste it. It looks very, it attracts the people to taste the chocolate when the wrapper is removed. This is a concept. The same concept has been used by a sofa manufacturer. So there was a court case telling this concept has been copied, and people thought this chocolate people are also making sofas. So this is also an infringement. Next. This is called trade dress dilution. And somebody came with a Google mineral water, and this also again people thought Google has started making mineral water. It confuses the people. Next. So Google has not permitted. Okay. Next is Zara, fashion or food. See, Zara, most of you know that it is a fashion brand, and somebody started with the same name in Delhi or so. So then again, the original company went to the court telling they are using our name to make marketing of their in the hotel. Next. This is Zara and Zara. And Paytm and PayPal. See, Paytm most of us use, and you can look at the color combination. They are different words, different type of letters in the size or inclination or vertical, but color combination is same. So this also a court case is there on this. Next. Now, what are the enforcement remedies? So if somebody infringes your trademark, how to go ahead about it? So the Trademark Act 1919 provides both civil and criminal remedies. Civil litigation, you can book a case, and you have to fight for the case. Next. And criminal litigation also, you can also sue them. And criminal litigation means under criminal laws, and they can be punished also. And if somebody is copying and making money out of it, they can be police can go and raid and seize the operations. Next. So criminal litigation, here one should remember, here according to Trademark Act, 3 years of imprisonment and or a fine up to 3 lakhs. So this is the maximum punishment one can get for trademark infringement. And of course, criminal is minimal, but most of the cases are civil only. Next. So I think what most of you know what is branding. Branding is again related to trademark, similar to that, a combination of that. Branding is a process by which name or identity of the company, an enterprise, or organization is communicated. Branding allows a company to differentiate the one product from the other. Say, for example, when we go for branded items like a Nike shoes or even Philips, or even when you want to buy an Apple mobile like that. So that has been established so by brand. Next. This is the classic example of a Coca-Cola, which we already discussed. Next. Similarly, mobiles and other electronic items, they are branded, and you can buy Sony, Ericsson, like that. So many things are there. They are all making marketing because of the brand name they have acquired over years. Next. Now, people should know how much, what are the brand health rankings. See, for example, you can say every year they make some studies, and you can see the ratings, and you can see the several companies having different ratings on this. Next. And what is the business involved? Now, the brands are very much important for entrepreneurs or big companies. So you can see the brand values of the companies. Apple has got maximum 215 billions, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Samsung, Toyota, Mercedes-Benz, it's all in the order. The highest is Apple. Of course, this goes on varying depending upon their business. Next. Now, 6 steps for entrepreneurs to approach IPR. See, when you start a company or an entrepreneur, how to go ahead to protect your inventions. Now, first one is identify the types of intellectual property rights to be protected in relevant jurisdiction. For example, you come out with a new product in a startup company, either you can protect it by a patent or a trademark or both. And step 2 is protect the various types of IP rights. So it is not only the patents, you can protect it by, if you have a software, you can protect it by copyright. The 7 types, not for engineering products, it's only trademark, copyrights, and patents. And step 3 is the allocate the rights. For example, if you have a team members of 10 people in a group, and all the 10 have contributed to come out of the product, you should clearly distinguish who has contributed what. So intellectual property is given only for the property of mind. See, the regular routine work, for example, a Xerox operator, you cannot get any intellectual rights, intellectual property. Similarly, mechanics and other things who do the regular maintenance or fixing the machines, they are not contributed anything intellectually. Only people who have contributed intellectually, they become the owner of the intellectual property, and that the group has to decide. Next. The 4th step, next one, is monetize the intellectual property. See, what is the use of filing the patent or a copyright or design? You should make money out of it. So while you are developing the product itself, you should watch who is going to buy, what is the market about this. Then it will help you to immediately make money out of it. And next, structure the terms and conditions. See, how do you make money using a intellectual property? You can sell it, that is called licensing. So you can give your technology to others and make money out of that. And then after doing all these things, you should not keep quiet. Somebody may copy it, and you should take steps to prevent the infringers. So it is during the life of the patent, it is the responsibility of the inventor to take care of the patent. If somebody copies, you should not keep quiet, you should go and fight for it. Next. Using a trademark also, we can make money out of it. Some brands, they will sell it to other companies. Now, how do you make money out of this? By licensing. The owner retains the ownership. Suppose you are the patent owner, you can keep the ownership but still give the technology to others, give license to manufacture. See, for example, most of the aircraft parts, you must have seen, HAL has been given license by some of the companies like Garrett and big companies. Here it's only manufacturing done, but still they hold the patents. And this is called as licensing and franchising. So licensing a trademark central to franchising agreement also we can make. And if you don't want to have any problem, you can just sell your invention completely. That is called assigning your rights to some company. So you lose the ownership. In the case of licensing, you retain the ownership but make money. But in the case of assigning or selling, you lose the ownership but you will get a lot of money. That's how they make money using intellectual property rights. It may be a trademark, it may be a patent, it may be a software also. Next. So enforcing trademark, it is the responsibility of the owners, and then you have to go to court and with the help of lawyers, and further things will follow. Next. Now, before I conclude, I will say, I always say intellectual property is a bridge between Saraswati and Lakshmi. Saraswati is knowledge and Lakshmi is money. So intellectual property brings a bridge between these two, and one can prosper better if you have intellectual property rights, and you can also make money out of it. Next. I think questions I will take it later. Then the last slide I would like to show. Next. Here, I would like to mention I got my email here and phone number also. If anybody wants to note down, they can note down. You can always contact me through email, Gmail, and I will answer your queries. And one more thing I want to tell, I am the advisor for a company called Origin. There, it's a patent company. They have made some free e-books on IPR. So if you want to know more about intellectual property rights, there are three or four books, e-books you can download from this website, origin.com. So thank you for your patient hearing. Now, any questions I will answer.
Thank you so much, sir, for a very insightful session. Students, if you would like to add your questions or share your questions, the chat window is open. So kindly do that.
If somebody can read the question, I can answer it.
I will read that, sir.
Okay, right.
So in case there are any other questions, they haven't shared, sir, but in case there are questions, I will share them with you and then.
Sure, we can go do it, no problem.
Okay, sir. But I will keep the thing open because I'm just downloading Matt's talk as well. Students, request you to kindly ask questions, or maybe Prabha or the others could also, have some conversation so that I'll just get the
other
start. Since students are not talking, I think I'll just ask. So, what are the first things that you should do in terms of protecting your IP? I mean, creating IP itself. Like, how would you go about it?
See, if first of all, there should be a research work. See, any product you should do research work. It may be your software or even product or process. So you should do a lot of research work and find out what is original contribution from yours. See, if you have made, if there are problems and if you have made a unique solution, that is a starting point. That unique solutions only will give you eligible for patenting. So what you have to do is, you have to write down your invention, that is called as a disclosure form. I think this Girija will explain in detail. You have to disclose your invention, and you have to make an agreement with the lawyer or patent attorney telling it is not disclosed to anybody else. In that, you have to disclose whatever the invention is, and further the IP advocates, they will help you to how to draft it and file a patent. It may be a patent, it may be a copyright, it may be a design or a trademark.
So there's another question from Kiran.
Okay.
He asks, what would be the necessary documentation required for filing patents, trademarks, and designs?
Yeah. See, documentation is, first of all, you should write your invention in a particular form. There is a disclosure form is there. Okay, I can share it later if anybody wants it through my email. That disclosure form, they will ask several questions. So if you answer those questions, that will be the format for which you have to give your invention. That is first thing. Then after you give it, then the IP people will draft it. And there are two types of fees. One is the official fees. For a startup companies, it is less, and these details I think Girija will be able to give you. And later, attorney fees is there. And after applying, that is called as a date of filing. The date in which you file, the clock starts, and 20 years is the life of the patent. And later on, the examination takes place, and it will be granted, or some questions are there, they will inquire from the patent office. That's how the complete thing goes.
So there's another question from Pavan. Why do patents have to be revealed publicly?
Why do?
Patents have to be revealed publicly.
You see here, patent documents, when they file it, they will come in the Gazette, okay, and also databases. For example, even India and also US databases, you will get the full details of the patents. So in patent, first they will explain the invention, and later on they will, what is written as a claims, that is the heart of the technical or the legal portion of that. And any patent document will have a legal portion, also a technical portion, and also business portion. Okay, all this is revealed in the public, but the lawyer or the lawyer will take care to see that some of the important things will not be revealed, because if it is revealed, then it is no more a patent, is it not? So those things are hidden. Only if you give the license fees or selling fees, then only that will be revealed.
Thank you so much for your very insightful talk, sir. And now we will move to Dr. Girija, and she will be talking about, let me just share her presentation first.
So thank you, Dr. Kumidini, for helping me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time and your insights, sir. They were very useful.
Right.
Can all of you see the screen?
Yes.
So Girija is a patent attorney and patent agent, and she will be talking more about the patents and industrial designs as significant IP tools for entrepreneurs and specifically engineers who are going to be entrepreneurs. So over to you, Girija. I think you can unmute yourself and talk.
Yeah. Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, you're audible,
Yeah.
Girija.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. So I am going to present on the topic patents and industrial designs as significant IP tools for entrepreneurs. So I'll start with next slide. Yeah. Next. Okay, I'll start with the patenting procedure, where I will introduce you to the important aspects of patenting, like patentable and non-patentable subject matter. And then we will move to the industrial design process. So industrial design is synonymously called as design patent, and it is one of the most important IPs, which is less explored by us. And so let us now gear up and amplify this number of filing, especially by the state of Karnataka. And in this, I will share a few live examples for the design protection in the different domains of engineering. And then we'll move to leveraging the IP rights by entrepreneurs. So where we can discuss on how best the IP rights can be utilized by the entrepreneurs. And finally, I will take up your questions. Next. So patenting procedure, we'll walk through a short introduction, patentable and non-patentable subject matter, the contents of patent specification and patent filing mechanism. Next. 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 So as Ramurthy sir told, the patent is a legal document, so which will describe an invention, and it creates a legal situation. So it cannot be exploited. The invention cannot be exploited with the authorization of the owner of the patent. So that is the objective of filing the patent. And patent protects an invention, and you have an exclusive right over your invention only for a limited period of time. That is only 20 years from the date of filing of the patent. After that, the patent comes to the public domain where anybody can use it. Next. So why should I go for a patent? To protect my invention and to get the exclusive right over the invention and to ensure commercial return. Next. Is patent necessary? Yeah, as a patent attorney, my answer will be a big yes. To encourage research and development and to stimulate capital investment, which will lead to the growth of the economy of the country, and to encourage the establishment of new industries, patent is highly necessary. Next. We will see now the very important aspect of patent. What are patentable and non-patentable subject matter? Next. Yeah. So what can be patented? So first, the invention must be novel. Second, it should have an inventive step. And third, it should be capable of industrial application. And the fourth criteria is that it should not fall under Section 3 and 4 of the Indian Patent Act. Next. So what do you mean by novelty? See, novelty is that the invention should not be in the public domain before filing your application. So we say that prior use and also prior publication are the obstacles for granting patent. Next. So this is a very famous case law which is related to the novelty. So it was held that the invention was not itself new. Its combination with the other element of the system producing the advantageous result would be the sufficient element of novelty to support the patent. So the understanding is that, see, your invention need not be a breakthrough invention. Even an improvement over the existing product or the process is patentable. Next. The non-obviousness or the inventive step. So this is a very important criteria to get a patent granted. So the inventive step is that there should be adequate technical advancement, and that technical advancement should not be a workshop variation. And let us see the case law where they decided that, see, I said that for novelty, even an improvement over the existing product or process is patentable. But that improvement should not be a mere workshop improvement. So what I mean by workshop improvement, see, when I develop a product or a process, a routine improvements will come. So these routine improvements are referred to as the workshop improvements, and these are all not patentable. Next. Industrial. Next. The third criteria for patentability is the industrial application, or we call it as the utility. So the invention should be capable of being made or used in any kind of industry. Next. And this is again a very interesting case law with respect to the industrial application. They say that the invention can be made or used in any kind of industry. The capable of industrial application carries the meaning of trade or manufacture in the widest sense, whether or not for the profit. So it should have the utility in the industries, It can be whether you may have a profit or not profit. That doesn't matter for the getting the patent granted. Next. So having seen what are patentable, we will now see what are not patentable in India. Section 3 and 4 of the Indian Patent Act, they have just listed out what are patentable and what are not patentable. So the first one is the frivolous inventions and the inventions contrary to the well-established natural laws. So I have just given a common example for a frivolous invention. See, already the article which were existing in 2 or more pieces, I made it in 1 piece. So this is an example for a frivolous, which is not patentable. And a perpetual mission is an example I have given for the contrary to the well-established natural laws. So any invention which is contrary to the law of natural law is not patentable. Next. Inventions which are contrary to the public order or the morality. Say the gambling machine, device for housebreaking, or a biological warfare material. These are all the inventions which are contrary to the public order or morality, and these are all not patentable. Next. A discovery of a scientific principle or a formulation of an abstract theory or a discovery of any living thing or non-living substances occurring in nature is not patentable. Suppose you say you have discovered a new microorganism, it is not patentable, or you have discovered a new scientific principle like Newton's law, it is not patentable. Next. A mere discovery of a new form or a new property or a new use of a known process or a machine or apparatus is not patentable. So I have taken a simple example of an aspirin. So we all know that we take aspirin for a headache, but if you come out with a new use of an aspirin for a heart ailment, it is not patentable. And again, a crystalline form of a known substance is a substance which may be existing in the prior art in an amorphous form. Suppose you say that you have come with a different form, a crystalline form of that substance, again, it is not patentable. Next. Substances obtained by mere admixture. So you take two drugs and then you mix it and then you come with a new drug. If you say it is not patentable. See, in the composition patent, you have to establish the synergistic property. So what I mean by synergistic property is that you should give data to show that there is interaction between the components. See, once you don't provide the synergistic data, the composition patents will not be granted. Next. Mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of the known devices, each functioning independently. So this is normally, this objection comes for mechanical patents. I have given example or common example like you come with a clock and radio in a single cabinet or an umbrella with a fan. These are all not patentable. Next. A method of agriculture or horticulture is not patentable in India. So example like cultivation of mushroom or algae, or you prepare an improved soil using earthworm. So these are all not patentable. Next. Again, a method of treatment on the human beings or the animals to render them free of disease or to increase their economic value. It is not patentable. Here you can see that the plant is an exception. I could say that, see, if you perform art surgery, it is not patentable, but for cosmetic surgery, it is patentable. Next. Plants and animals, essential biological process, seeds, varieties, species, these are all not patentable in India. So, but genetically modified microorganism is an exception. Next. So mathematical, business method, computer program as such, algorithms, these are all not patentable. As discussed by Ramurthy sir, like a computer program as such is not patentable. You can go for copyright, but if it is in an embedded system, then it is patentable. Next. literary, dramatic, musical, aesthetic, or artistic works. These are all not protected under patent, but you can get it protected under the copyrights. Method of performing a mental act, like a method of teaching or method of playing game, it is not patentable. Next. The presentation of information. So like you have come with a new method of expressing the information, it is not patentable. Next. Traditional knowledge. So you know that the turmeric heal wounds, so that is not patentable, but you come with an ointment where you may have the ingredients of the plant extract along with the other excipients, then it is patentable. Next. Any invention which relates to atomic energy. So patent will not be granted as it is an objection under section 4 of the Patent Act, where they say that no patent can be granted for an invention relating to the atomic energy, which falls under section 21 of the Atomic Energy Act. Next. This is what I have been, this is the crux of what I have been discussing. This is the famous filter model developed by Dr. Kalyan of Banana IP. You can see the invention at the top and the patents at the bottom. So if you want to get the patent granted, it should pass through these 5 filters. So the first and foremost filter is the subject matter. As I said, your subject matter should be a patentable subject matter. Suppose you say that you have only the computer program, then you cannot get patent in India. So it has to be registered under the copyright. And the next is that you should see whether your invention has the utility. So normally 99% of the invention will have utility. And third is the novelty. Novelty is that we said that prior use and prior publication of your invention kills the novelty. And the fourth one is the non-obviousness or the inventive step. So you should show an adequate technical advancement in your invention. And the final is the specification. Specification is the techno-legal document which is submitted to the patent office for examination. And I'll just explain to you in the following slides about the specification. Next. Next. So patent specification. Patent specification is a techno-legal document, and the scientific details of the inventions are mentioned in the specification. And we always call this patenting activity as quid pro quo, for something for something. See, you just explore or you just give all your details to the patent office regarding the invention. And for that, the government gives the exclusive right to you. So this is something for something. Next. Yeah, there are 2 types of specification. One we call it as the provisional and the other is the complete. So provisional is filed when the invention is at the conceptual stage and a delay is expected in submitting the full and specific description of the invention. And once you file provisional, within 12 months, you have to file the complete specification. No patent will be granted on the basis of the provisional. And in the complete specification, all the details of the invention are disclosed. And there may be another case also where you may have all the details in the first instant itself. In that case, you can directly go file the complete specification. Next. So a patent, normally it has 3 main sections: a cover page, a specification, and claims. So cover page, it presents the bibliographic information, and specification describes the invention, and claim defines the scope of invention for which the protection is claimed. So this is the cover page of an patent, where you can see the bibliographic information like application number, date of filing, the title, and you can also see who is the applicant and the international classification, and also a short abstract. Next. The specification has the following content. So it will have the title, the field of the invention, the background of the invention, what are the objectives of the invention, It's summary of the invention. And we have to describe the drawings in a brief manner with the detailed description of the invention in the best mode. Along with that, the drawing sheets and the abstract page has to be attached. Next. So claims, they are the important part of the patent application. So claims define the scope of the legal protection. And so it should be drafted very carefully. We always say that drafting of claim is an art and a science. And so in a patent application, at least one claim should be there. So what you don't claim stands disclaimed. And so you have to be very careful in drafting the claims. Next. We'll see how the patents are filed. So who can apply for a patent? A true and first inventor can apply, or the assignee who have been assigned by the true and the first inventor, or the legal representative. If the inventor or the assignee is no more, a legal representative can file the patent. Next. Where to file the patent application? See, you can file in one of the patent offices, but based on the territorial jurisdiction of the place of the office or the residence of the applicant or agent. Next. And there are 4 patent offices in India, one in Chennai, Mumbai, Delhi, and Kolkata. So we, the southern states, we have to file in Chennai patent office, and western states, they file in Mumbai, and northern states in New Delhi, and the rest of the states in Kolkata. Next. So how to file a patent application? Through online, and more than 90% of the application is now accepted through online only. They do accept it through post, and hand submission was taken away during COVID. I do not know whether they have revived it again. So, but more than 90% online applications only, they accept it. Next. This is a general procedure to get a patent. So first file a patent application. So it will be published after 18 months, and there can be a pre-grant opposition, which can be represented by any person. And once you file RFP, that is request for examination, your application will be examined, and they may grant it or refuse it. So once it is granted, again it will be published in the journal, patent journal, and you can oppose it. That is called the post-grant opposition, but that should be done within 12 months from the date of grant of the patent, and the controller's decision is final, whether to revoke it or not. Next. So what are the basic documents you have to file? So the first one is the application form, which we normally call it as the Form 1. Form 1 should always be accompanied by either the provisional or complete. And you should also file Form 3, where you give a statement and undertaking that if you file outside India, after filing in India, you will update the application to the patent office within 6 months. And the Form 5 should also be filed, where the declaration of the inventorship is there. And this should be attached along with the required official fee. Next. See, the official fee is for natural person, small entity, startup, and educational institution. It is only 1,600, and for others it is 8,000. So I think it's more than a year where for educational institution they have slashed the price from 8,000 to 1,600, and more of the educational institutions are utilizing it, this great opportunity, and they are filing more patents. And this fee 1,600, if it is restricted to 30 pages of the specification and for 10 claims. So if it is in excess, you have to pay the extra amount. Next. So we'll now move to the second part of our session, the industrial design process. As I said that industrial design we synonymously call as design patent, and it is like a patent is for the functional aspect and design is for the aesthetic aspect. So next. So what do you mean by design? See, it refers to the shape or the configuration, that's the arrangement of the parts, or the pattern or the ornamentation or the composition of the lines or the colors applied to any article. So, but it should be produced by industrial process. That is another element of the design, and it should appeal to, and it is judged solely by the eye. Next. So what are the essential requirements to get a design registered? First is it should be original, means it should not have been a copied one. Second is like there should be novelty in the design, that it should not have been disclosed prior of filing the design application. And third, it should be significantly distinguishable, means it should be distinct from the existing designs, and it should have been applied to an article produced by industrial means, and it should appeal to the eye, and it should not comprise or contain any scandalous or obscene matter, and it should not be contrary to the public order or the morality, and it should not be prejudicial so to the security of India. Next. So what are excluded from the scope of the design? A book, calendar, greeting card, labels, or any principle or construction of an article, building and structures, and part of the articles which are not manufactured and sold separately, and variations and mere workshop alterations. So change in shape is protected under design, but the change in size is not protected under design. Any flag, emblem, or signs of any country, the layout designs of IC, we have a separate IPR for it, and so it cannot be protected under the industrial designs. Next. Who can apply for a design registration? As I said, like for patents, any person or a legal representative or an assignee. A person here includes individual, a firm, a partnership, or a small entity, or a body corporate. Next. Yeah. So if you follow these 10 steps, you can get your design registered. So first is that find out whether any registration already exists. So this can be done by just searching it in the paid or unpaid databases available, or even you can write it to the patent office and you can ask whether any such article already exists. And then you have to prepare a representation sheets. So representation sheets are that you have to give different views of your article, like a perspective view, a top view, bottom view, like that. And the third is that identify the class of the design. So for design, it comes under the Locarno classification, where you have 32 classes. So you should identify to which class your article belongs. And then you should provide a statement of novelty. Novelty is that where your newness exists, whether it is in the shape or whether it is in the configuration or whether it is in the line or the pattern on the article. So you have to provide that statement. And then you should also provide a disclaimer. Disclaimer is that you say that I don't claim the trademarks or any functions of the article. And then claiming a priority date. This is normally for people for foreign applications who file in their country and then apply to India, where they can claim the priority date is nothing but the first filing date. And you have to determine the fees of the official fees which have to be paid. So it is 1,000 for individuals or startups and 4,000 for others. See that all the enclosures are attached. So if I say that enclosure means like if you file through a patent attorney, you have to give the power of attorney and complying with objection. So as soon as you file the application, see, they will just go through your application formally, and then if there are any formal objection, they will get back to you. So you have to go immediately reply to it. So if you give all the full details in your application properly, you can expedite your process of design registration. Next. Again, where to file the design application? You can file in any of the 4 patent offices, but prosecution will be done only by the Patent Office, Kolkata. Next. See, what are the benefits of design registration? Number 1 is that you get an exclusive right over your article. And second is when anybody infringes your design. So this is the design registration certificate is the document which can be produced in the court of the law. And again, the third, when you want to commercialize it, either you want to license it or assign it, this will be a legal property for the consideration or the royalty. Next. As I shared with you, the fee for filing a design application for individual or a startup or a small enterprise is only 1,000, and for others it is 4,000. Next. See, I'll just share some live examples of design protection. See, this is an different designs of the antenna in the field of ECE. So you can see the shapes, different shapes of the antenna which has got been protected and the industrial designs. And in the area of computer, you can see the laptop and the monitor, the router, mouse. So different designs of the computer or the computer parts are getting registered in industrial design. And if you come with a new shape of a motorbike or a cycle, and even the parts of the vehicle, say a back bumper and a wheel rim or a hub cap also get protected under industrial designs. Next. Yeah. Yeah. Previous slide, please. Previous slide. Sorry, I was seeing my laptop. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see in the field of electrical engineering, even a switch, a socket, electrical connector are all possible for industrial design registration. Next. This is in the field of environmental engineering. So if you have come with some new design of smart bins, eligible for industrial design. Next. Finally, the corona instruments or the accessories, they have also found the place in the industrial design protection. Next. Yeah, so we'll now move to the last final part of our session, leveraging IP rights by entrepreneurs. So in the words of Mark Getty, see, oil has revolutionized the industrialization in the 20th century. And he says that IP is the oil of the 21st century. So I have the privilege to work with the students of different college in filing their different projects for patent. So I observe a sea change in the attitude of the students. They want to give employment than getting employed. And see, students, they collaborate and then they start ventures on their own. And currently the startup culture is the global culture, and you know that government of India is taking many initiatives to promote this culture. And from the IP point of view, many amendments have been made in the rules to support the startup culture. For example, number one is that see, the fee is only a minimum fee. For example, for to file a patent, 1,600 only is the fee for startup, and only 1,000 for the design application. And second, startups are eligible for expedited examination. See, we got 2 patents granted in a record time of 6.5 months. For while it takes 3 years, 4 years to get granted. See, we got it for in 6.5 months. We got it granted for 2 startups. And I also had an experience for filing an design application for a biotech startup, like in 3 months before, and we got the design approved in 44 days, since it was a startup. So these are all some of the greater initiatives made by the patent office also. And thirdly, as Prabha pointed out, there are many schemes where you can refund the spent money on the IP procedure by the startups. So in this contest, next slide. Next. So in this contest, I would like to previous slide. previous. Yeah. So in this contest, I would like to share how an entrepreneur can derive economic value from IPR. So there are 5 ways. The first one is practicing. See, if you have developed a new product, you can yourself manufacture it, and then thereby earn a higher market share, higher sale price, and margin. And if you do not want to practice it, you can go for the second option, that is licensing or assigning. So you can either sell it or you can license it, and thereby you can earn royalty. And there is also a third option where since IP is an intangible asset, you can use it as a financial instrument. And the fourth option is litigation. See, this is normally related to patent, where you can have economic benefits through out-of-court settlement or court award damages. And the fifth one is deterring. Deterring is normally, we call it as defensive patenting. See, we file patents to counter the infringement claims of others. So this helps in a company to increase their freedom to operate of the patent of a firm which owns the patent. So these are some of the economic value IPRs. Next. We will like connect popularly called as the
Well, I
biotech
think
queen.
breaking.
Hello?
Yeah, you were breaking for a bit. Can you repeat that part from
Which
Live
this
Connect?
Live Connect,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll now connect live to a few successful entrepreneurs. And she's, I think you all know her. She's Kiran Mazumdar, popularly called as biotech queen. See, she started a small startup in a garage and now which has developed into a $1 billion business. So Biocon is constantly improving in their innovation, and they are backed up by strong IP protection. So she said, like, all made possible by IP. So you can see the importance of IP for an entrepreneur. Next. Yeah, Mr. Rajaram, see, he was the former managing director of Konkan Railways. So he invented an anti-collision device. So he filed a patent which had the royalty which is equivalent to $1 billion US. But what he did is he wanted to use it for the public good. So he assigned the rights to the Konkan Railways. And it is that stated that this anti-collision device, it prevents 99.9% of the train collisions in India. Next. So Amazon success started with the first patent, the single click method. That's the first business method patent granted. And now it has taken Amazon to multi-billion dollar business. And they also, any successful entrepreneur, they constantly involve in the innovation. See, and that is a case with Amazon also. Next. So I will wind up this session, leaving this talk to you. And now any questions you can ask me. Yeah.
Thanks, Teja. So I think that again was very useful, and I think I hope the students also realize that even before they complete their graduation, they can actually file patents and get industrial designs to their
Right.
name. It doesn't have to be that you get into a job and that's when you kind of create
All
patents.
their projects, final year projects, can be
Potential patents and
for even application or industrial design. Yeah, even copyright also, because we have filed for colleges copyright designs and patent, because trademark is not most suited for academia. So these three can be explored by the students. Yeah, they can explore it. Yeah.
Yeah, I now ask the students to kindly share your questions. We'll take about 5 minutes for questions, and then I think we'll wrap up. It's around 4:30 now. So Kiran asks, is it advantageous to keep IP protection in mind while in the initial stages of design and development?
No, I'm not getting the question. Whether you can keep the IP protection
in mind while during your initial stage of design and development itself? Or should you think IP protection after you design something?
No. Yeah, see, there is abstract ideas, na, it is not protected by IP. So you have to show it on the paper in the tangible form. That is important, whether it is for a patent or a design or see, the patent office does not ask for a prototype, but it should be expressed in a paper form. That is important. If you could express it, you can apply it for patent or designs.
No, I think what he was trying to ask is, now let's say I want to do a project.
Okay.
Should I also think of IP protection when I start my project itself, or can I think of IP protection after my project is complete and then
that's why I said, na, for patent, you see, in patent, I said, like, if it is in a conceptual stage, you file the provisional. See, the first filing date is very important, either for patent or design. See, because once they examine your patent application, they will before the date, that date only, they will see how many patents are there, how many designs are there. So the first filing date is very important. So do not wait for it. So if you want, if you see that your invention or your project is going to be eligible for either for patent or design, you file it, then you can proceed it. And no, I can just give you an example also. See, colleges, they call us and they'll say that, madam, we have an exhibition, okay, in the weekend. So you can you file a patent? So because if you go and display in the exhibition, see, it comes to the public domain. So it is always good at least to file the provisional and then go for exhibition. So like that, for any developing a project, if you know that it is going to be, it has the eligibility for a patenting or a design protection, you can start your process and then proceed with your project work.
One more question. Will patents filed in one country be respected all around the globe, or is it only in that particular country?
It's a good question people ask. See, always we say that patents are territorial in nature. See, if you have an Indian patent, you can exercise your right only in India. So if you want to exercise your right in US, you have to apply for US. There is no such word called a global patent or a world patent.
Yes. So any other questions, students? Or we'll wind up now. Thanks a lot, Girija, and thank you, Ramurthy sir.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge.
I hope the students got some value from this. They are actually first-year students. They've just completed their second semester.
But the right time to understand about the IPR, because they can think on this and they will have sufficient time to create a good project which will be eligible for IP protection. So that is very important actually. And as I said, like, it's not you need a breakthrough invention. See, you can go to there are many unpaid databases available, like Google Patent or free patents online, and Patent Scope by WIPO, where they can search with their keywords of their project work and see whether any such inventions exist. And they can also read those patents and then improve their project work. So this is like a diamond mine. This patent search is a diamond mine where you can have more knowledge about the patent section.
So thank you so much, Girija. I think this was extremely useful, and I hope the students also get some value. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Prabha, for coordinating this and getting this to happen. I know I asked you for it almost a semester back, but we finally managed to do it. So I'm really thankful to you that you turned it around so quickly. And thanks also to Dr. Ramurthy sir. I mean, all three of you were amazing, and I think even I learned a lot today again. So I always learn something new. So that is a personal takeaway for me as well. I hope the students also benefited from this, and wish you all a very good day. And Yeah, Girija and Ramurthy sir, we are having our ICWITE conference, IEEE conference on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And Prabha is actually coordinating another VTPC event specifically on GI and so on. We would really appreciate it if you could also join us. And this is a call out to all the students also. Lots of very interesting tutorials that are happening in case you want to participate. This is on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So
Sure.
all the very best and have a good day. Thanks a lot once again, and good day to you.
Thank you. Rishi.
Prabha, do you want to say something or any last thoughts? Ramurthy sir, any last thoughts? Okay, I guess we'll wind up. Thank you so much. Good day to you all.